Okay, folks, and we are back. We are back for part 3 of the 2025 LOTRO Marathon, as Wiggin is about to complete the Battle of the Three Peaks here, and then head towards Azanulbazar, I believe. But here we go. And during the break, I was even able to check in and do a little inventory management off stream, so that's probably just as well. And we're just about to turn level 132. Oh man, start of the day at 128. I'm averaging almost 2 levels a chapter at this point. It's pretty good, actually.
Did you hear the signal horns?
I blew the signal horns. What are you talking about? Durin prepares to lead an assault upon the threshold of the mountain home, where he will strike down Gorgar the Ruthless and become the Lord of Gundabad. Oh, no. So the raid is the actual battle is in the raid.
Let us follow after Durin.
We will lend what aid we can and be among the first to venture within the mountain home in victory. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it. Sorry, as somebody whose LOTRO playing is about 99% solo, ever since, like, my earliest playing days, like fellowship areas and things were like my abhorrence. You know, just that you would be playing the game solo, and then you get to a place that's just like, well, if you want this part of the story, you can't. You know, and that I've always hated that. I know that's not like how a lot of people play, and I understand. But it's fine. Yes. Fendaladon, I agree. Griffith will need to do it. Yes. Because it's part of the story, and he'll want to do that. But that won't be for a little bit yet. Okay. I have an idea. Let us take another path to the steps of Gundabad. In that way, we will obtain the element of surprise, and maybe of greater help to the prince and to his warriors. Okay. Oh, hang on. I gotta not do these quests again. Okay. All right, fine. And hang on. I also need to renew my XP supply to keep me cranking up towards 133. Okay, because this quest is still 130. Look at that, it's blue to me. Oh, look at Wicked is making such good level progress. Sorry, this has been I'm kind of particularly fixated on this because 2 years ago, I think it was 2, maybe it was 3. Anyway, when I was doing Mordor with Wigand, I ended up so under level, like the landscape mobs were red going on purple to me by the time I got to Aggerknife, and it was really, really challenging. I ended up having a lot of problems. And again, not doing any of the side quests or getting any of the XP, I always worry about a repetition of that kind of problem, and am delighted that Wiggand is doing such a good job of avoiding that so far today. Hey, Drowsnake.
We must follow Durin and his warriors.
Okay. Thalfi told me of a path near Dún Trike, that will allow us to gain access to the threshold of Gundabad from the other side. Okay.
I hear fighting just ahead. Let us press on.
Where are we? Oh, okay. Well, that was cunning. What did we take a boat? See, I was sensing that the the finale was near. But I think our break was very well timed. We'll have to fight our way up the slope into the threshold of Gundabad if we do not wish to miss Prince Durin's victory. Let's go! Okay. Which way? Come on, Sarah Oakhart. Let's go. Oh, here we go. All right. Here we go. We don't want to be late for any of the rumpus. For those of you who missed our grammatical discussion earlier in the stream, rumpus is officially the plural of rumpus. I mean, officially as of today. Because I decided that it's a fourth declension noun, and that rumpus, which in English we're going to spell R-U-M-P-O-O-S. This is the story. Okay. Can I get them all? Okay. Yes, I can. I've positioned myself in such a place that I can hit them all at once, even though they're attempting to stay away from me. Okay. Oh, look. my Angmarim quest is coming in handy. It's nice that I still get credit for that inside the instance. Okay. Not Rumpy. No, because see, that was, see, Drowsnake, that was the fun, was that I decided that why, since it's a fake word anyway, like it's not like it's a real Latin word, so since it's a fake Latin word, we could have decided that it was second declension, masculine. But, like, why do that when we could instead decide that it's fourth declension and then it's even more fun? Okay, so what do we do? What's your big plan now, Bosie? I'm going to kick it open like Aragorn in the movie. Okay. Oh, man, I'm like 2 Angmarim short of completing that quest. Okay, now what? Enter Gorgar's...
Retreat! Get inside the mountain! This isn't over, Gorgar!
Oh, we're supposed to go over with the dwarves.
Oh, you're right about that, little princeling. Scatter, vermin!
Ooh. Oh, here we go.
I have returned to claim what is mine!
I remember fighting this dude.
Bow down before the true master of Gundabad!
Oh, dear. Gonna put out the fire? Nice. Okay. Half fire, half ice. That's hard to maintain.
No, we were so close. Our prize slips from our grasp once more. All is not lost, my prince. You are right, Commander. All is not lost.
See, their voices are much more distinct if one of them speaks like a Western prospector.
It will take time to regroup, tend to the wounded, and break through this cursed ice. But the day is won. Gundabad will be ours!
Unfortunately, we're still speaking in the future tense. Okay, that was a much shorter instance than I expected. We were so near to victory, Wiggin. What cruel chance has brought Hrimel Frostheart here to rob us of our triumph? How came she to escape her icy prison? This is not a defeat. We will not stray from our course. We will regroup and mount one last offensive, and no orc nor dragon will stand before the might of my armies. I am descended from the line of Durin, and I will prove the glory of my name and the rightness of my cause. Rally my forces. When all is ready, we will storm the gates, and Gundabad will once again be ours at last. All right. Boom. Gundabad awaits. You have been summoned by those who seek to reclaim Gundabad. Wait, what? You should meet at Matugard in Gundabad as soon as you are able? It's just a vector quest. Okay. I'll accept the vector quest, hoping to just get free XP when I show up. Okay. So, what I do now is I could talk to him to get the quest. But, tell you what, why don't I do that? No. Let me not do that because I don't want to travel. Because first I have to... Now is the time when I go back... the Blood of Azog? Yeah, that was the one. To that letter that Glowin sent me. Now is the time for it. So hang on. Let me read it now. Oh, come on. It won't let me read the text now. That was the whole quest text that I didn't read on account of it was a spoiler at the time because they sent it to me out of sequence. Okay, fine. Let's do the intro. So I've never done this before, so keep in mind, for people who are new, this is completely new to me. Like, I've heard rumors about this. I know what it's about. In, like, what it's about. Am I supposed to be standing on the map? I feel rude. And if I didn't know what it was about, I would now, on account of the map I'm standing on. Like, I was just standing in Khaladzaram. No, that's not. This is Elderslane. Yeah, okay. All right, I don't mind standing on this map then. I changed my mind.
I suppose in times of war, nothing is certain. So I am thankful you received my letter.
Yeah, but I didn't get to read it. Hang on a second. Is it in the mail? No. Why? Why is it red? Can't left or right click on it. Fine. I'll let it go. This is me letting it go.
Though I have tried to convince him otherwise, Prince Durin blames himself for the setback at the gates of Mount Gundabad.
It is good to see you again. This is not the manner of the reunion I would have preferred, but I'm afraid it could not be helped. Though I have tried to convince him otherwise, Prince Durin blames himself for the setback at the gates of Mount Gundabad. He considers it a defeat, a failure, and perhaps most of all a rebuke to his worthiness of the name Durin. Even though that is not so, I fear he believes that vengeance might be his only path to redemption in the eyes of the Longbeards. Prince Durin has heard many tales of the deeds of his grandfather, but neither he nor even King Thorin know them as I do. In my youth, I learned the cost of vengeance firsthand. I was at Azanul-Bazar. I know well the price that was paid to see Azog's head set upon a spike. It is true that Gorgor and Hrimil await us beyond the gates of Mount Gundabad, but within the mountain home, the advantage belongs to them. If we are to win this war and reclaim the sacred mountain, our soldiers must be given the time to tend their wounds and prepare for the battles ahead. Let us help Prince Durin to lead the Gabalaka to victory, my friends. My friend, that is all I ask. Interlude, Blood of Azog. Okay. Oh, okay, right. Got it. Hang on a second here. Got a screenshot of the letter I missed. Okay, hang on. Thank you. All right, here it is. Despite our many triumphs, the War of Three Peaks has taken a great toll. To some among the Gabalaka, victory seems no closer than it did when Prince Durin first swore his oath before the anvil of Winterstiff. Gorgar, son of Bolg, still eludes us. Wittingly or not, that accursed cold dragon, Hrimil Frostheart, allowed him to escape his doom. I'm glad I didn't read this letter. It is little comfort that there is no love lost between the two of them. Oh, Hrimil and Gorgar. I'm like, of course there's no love lost between Gorgar and Durin. Why would there be? Got it. Between the dragon and the orc. Got it, For their hatred of dwarves might prove enough to set aside their enmities, at least for the moment. All is not lost, and I stand by my words, but it is difficult for the dwarves of the Gabilacha to see the battle on the threshold of Gundabad as anything but a costly setback, and to the mind of Prince Durin, an unforgivable defeat. Although he has not said it aloud or so plainly, Prince Durin has set his thoughts upon vengeance. In truth, he contemplates a great offensive to breach the gates and reclaim Mount Gundabad at all cost. I will not overstep the bounds of my station, but I am not old enough. But I am an old enough dwarf to know that the hunt for vengeance might prove just as deadly as any weapon our foes might wield against us. Prince Durin knows well the worth of your counsel, and I believe that together you and I might convince him to weigh the wisest course to this war's end. And so I humbly request that you return to Anak Khurfu, which I am here. Let us speak soon. Thank you. Thank you very much, Judithfire. Appreciate that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was a pretty spoilery letter. So has anyone considered the plan of just like waiting for the ice to melt from like the fires that were still blazing all around and then entering? Okay, I'm not going on a mission.
I believe Prince Durin intends to send word to Nayan at Zarkul Sulun. But it so happens that there are dwarves of the Harum Obnar in his garrison.
Okay. Before this war began, King Thorin sent 3 elder warriors to aid his son, Agnar Brokentooth, Lagi Helmbiter, it's a really embarrassing name, and Reithvald Redember. They are dwarves of the Kurum Ubnar, the Brethren of Survivors. It is an order little known outside the line of Durin's folk, but its members hold a place of high esteem in the eyes of King Thorin, and more importantly, those of his brother Nan. I would wager there is little that might temper his fervor for battle, as much as the word of one of the Kurum Ubnar, let alone 3 of them. I believe Prince Durin intends to send word to Zarkul Sulun that his uncle might be apprised of the plan to reclaim Mount Gundabad. It so happens that Agnar, Lagi, and Reithvald are among his garrison. Need I explain myself further? This must be done delicately, that the prince is not undermined in the eyes of the Gabalaka. You are a trusted friend, Wiggin, and I am certain the prince would send you on this errand should you ask. Okay. Remind me, here, because again, it's been a long time since I've done Erebor, and I did Erebor really briefly with Wiggin, just the epics. So Dan Ironfoot is dead because we're post Lord of the Rings. So he has 2 sons. I'm trying to remember the line here. There's Thorin. Thorin, who's king under the mountain. Thorin, he named his son. Anyway, I'm confused about the lineage of Dan Ironfoot here. I want to make sure I'm getting the family tree right in my head, the Lotro family tree for Dan Ironfoot. Okay. Right. Thorin III is king under the mountain. Right. Okay. So Dan's son is Thorin III. His brother is Nan in the Iron Hills. Okay, great. So you've got the 2. Once again, we have the king under the mountain and his brother who goes. Right. That's familiar. So Nan, it's Thorin and Nan. Thorin III becomes the king in battle in the War of the Ring. Right. And he gains the epithet of Stonehelm after closing the gates. Okay, so Thorin Stonehelm, king under the mountain. So he's the elder son of Dan Ironfoot, and Nan, who's named after Dan's father, is his younger brother. Prince Durin's relation here? I'm forgetting that too. I've been hanging out with him for so long that I forget how all that worked. Ah, right. Durin is Thorin III, so he's the son of Thorin. Okay. Gotcha. So he's Dan Ironfoot's grandson, in fact. Okay. Clear. Thank you. Thank you for helping me to de-confuse myself. Ooh, oh, that's the mission quest symbol right there with a little map with X marks the spot.
I saw you speaking with Gloin. All is well, I hope.
Ah, Wigand, it is good to see you here once again, my friend. For my part, I have not sat idle since the battle at the gates of Mount Gundabad. After the death of Ranulur, Gorgar fled in fear from the Gabalaka. And yes, I am quite aware that Hrimmel Frostheart may have influenced his actions, but it was a victory nonetheless. After so much hardship, a mere wall of ice cannot keep me from my prize. I saw you speaking with Glóin. All's well, I hope? You tell Durin that Glóin told you of a new plan to reclaim the mountain home, and you request that you might be the one to bring word of it to Nan. Indeed! It is my belief that we should breach the ice on the morrow and hunt down Gorgar within the halls of Gundabad. Dwarves are hardier than orcs, after all, and if we grant our enemies too much rest, all of our efforts in this war would be for naught. We are so near to victory, my friend. We mustn't let up now. As for your request, it is granted. Deliver word of my plans to Nan, and see if he finds it to his liking. Okay. Am I... No. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to ditch all of these other Slayer quests. But... because I'm out of that... yeah, I'm out of the battlefield now. So... Angmar upon the battlefield, so close, but no. Beasts of the battle, no. I was avoiding them on purpose. Fangs... come on, stop that now. Fangs of War... I only got them at the last second. Forces of Gundabad, I finished that like at least a time and a half. The Frost Horde, no, they were losers. Who needs them anyway? Okay, and then we had, what else did we have? What are these? Oh, right, the ones on the threshold, we never did get back and finish those. That's fine. So let's see, that must be in Elderslade? Yeah. Well, let me just hang on to those. I won't cancel them, because I still probably go to that area, maybe. But that's fine. Okay, so now I've got Gundabad awaits. We'll come back to that. I've got Aid Glóin with the Battle of Azog. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm working on. And then travel to Zarkul Sulan in the War of Three Peaks. Isn't that where I am? I'm confused. What's my next step here? No, that's not where I am. Okay. I'm in Anach Corfu. Fine. Yes, it is giveaway time. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot that after we started up. Let's do another giveaway. I want to do another Signum giveaway. So you will remember last giveaway, we gave away a 6-month subscription to the Signum Collaboratory. But connected with our Collaboratory is our new Signum store, where we have all of our available premium content up for sale. And of course, the difference between the store and the Collaboratory is that wait a second. I have to go to the War of Three Peaks swift travel, right? Still kind of confused about what I'm supposed to be doing here. Travel as Arkell Sulin. That, I think, is my most recent quest. Okay, so as I was saying, the difference between the store and the collaboratory is that the collaboratory is the subscription service. If you subscribe to the collaboratory, which is only $9 a month for the basic subscription, you get access to all of our content, which you can watch anytime. You can't download it and keep it, but you can watch it through our collaboratory app. However, it's not a mobile app, by the way. It's a web app, so you can use it both in mobile and on desktops as well. Okay, although the din of war can be heard in the distance, Zarkul Sulun is quiet. Okay. Nan the Slakeless. But he's not here. Is he? I guess he is. I'll see if he's inside. Anyway, so you can, if you're a subscriber to the collaboratory, you can watch our stuff anytime. But if you want to purchase something to be able to download and keep the files, you know, for as long as you like, you can do that too. So we have an attached store for that. And that means that in our store, we have dozens of sets of lecture recordings. I was mentioning this before, for our recordings of lectures from our space classes, recordings of lectures of years worth of our graduate courses as well. You know, so there's lecture sets in there by Tom Shippey and Mike Drought and me, and a bunch by Amy Sturgis, and some really cool, as well as like a bunch of really, really fun stuff from space, like the recordings of the lectures from Sarah Brown and me and James Tauber on the complete poetic collection of J.R.R. Tolkien as well. Oh, here's Nan. So all of those are available through the store as well. So what we are doing a giveaway for is you can get one item free from the store or whatever you like. Go to the Signum store and you pick something out and you can have it. That's the thing that we're going to do the giveaway for here right now. All right.
It is a sound plan to my ear, but it was not on a mere whim that my brother sent 3 of the Karum Ubnar to aid the prince. Let us hear what they have to say.
I want to start at the beginning of your speech, Nan, if you don't mind. How fares my nephew at Anak Kurfu, Wigand? You exchange welcomes with Nan, and then you tell him of Prince Durin's plans to reclaim Gundabad. After a moment, you ask Nan what the Karum Ubnar in his garrison might make of it. It is a sound plan to my ear, but my eagerness for battle is well known. I would not even wait for the morrow were I a younger dwarf. Nan pauses. It may be that Thorin is not as well suited to battle as I am, but he is keen in judgment. It was not by mere whim that my brother sent 3 of the Karam Ubnar to aid the prince. Beyond those 3 warriors, none of the Longbeards in the Gabalaka, not even old Glowin, have seen so much battle and its costs. I will honor your request, if you would honor one of my own. I have seen Gorgar's ilk, all manner of evil beasts, and even some of those wicked men of Angmar drawing nearer to Zarkul Sulun since the battle at the gates, and I would not have them doubt our mettle. Slay them to the last. Let us see how Karam Ubnar judge Durin's plan. How the Karam Ubnar judge Durin's plan, Wigand. Oh, okay. So, I guess I was a little premature in getting rid of those quests. I thought we were done with the battle because it's over, but I guess we're not. Fine. Fine. Doesn't matter. We're going to finish most of them anyway. Okay, so just fight things again. Okay. Well, Wiggins not redlining a two-handed sword for no reason. It seems brighter. Oh, fine. Okay, so 10 dudes. Like as it might be that hobgoblin. Tell you what. Let me get this warg. Warg? How's that, Phil? Let me get this warg. Warg. So part of my problem, Phil, in as much as it's a problem, which I myself do not fully accept, is that I kind of like the oral play between warg and war. I kind of like accentuating the WAR stem, like to make it rhyme with war. So that's, I think, a part of the reason why I don't go out of my way to say warg, even though and that's probably, I think it is more accurate. I certainly think it's much more likely that that's what how Tolkien said it. But, yes, let's slip the wargs of war. Exactly. Oh, it's a bright-filled red ember. Hi.
I have seen enough of battle to know the signs of fatigue, even if these dwarves are too proud to admit it.
Lord Nain has sent you? I have much to report, Wigan, some for good and some for ill. Of the good, our defences have held against the orcs, and their numbers have dwindled since our encounter at the gates of Mount Gundabad. Those few that make their way out to our line are unorganized and easy prey for the Gelruka. In the past several days, I am proud to report that we have not lost a single dwarf. But of the bad, it should come as little surprise. We are still engaged in war, my friend. There is no time simply to take shelter and rest while Gorgar hides within the mountain home. After all, there are other ways out of that mountain, and the orcs must know all of them. You interject to ask Reithwald about Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Gundabad. That is not so simple a matter. My friends, my soldiers are in need of rest. I have seen enough of battle to know the signs of fatigue, even if they're too proud to admit it. Durin holds some of his army in reserve at Anak Corfu, and I would urge him to send as many soldiers as he can spare to relieve us. Even if only for a short time, it would be of great help to us for the coming battles. Okay. Right, Eldred says, but then in Tolkien's accent, the assonance would have been kept. Oh, you mean because he would have said war? Would he? How would somebody in the East Midlands say the word war, W-A-R? Would they say war? Would he pronounce it the same? It's possible. Oh, come on. What are you, throwing snowballs at me? Really? That's what we're doing now? Yeah, I'm just not sure. Who's that? Oh, it's Bosi still. Here, come on, Gundabad war driver. Oh, come on. I've avoided the elephants all this time. And now you're going to stick me with an elephant? Fine. Fine. You can't say I didn't try to spare you, Mr. Oliphant. I did. You've got nobody to blame but yourself. So I assume that they'll be like each one at... Why is my quest ring way back there? I'm disturbed. Anyway, I was just gonna say, I assume it's gonna be like one at each trench. Yeah, the other one's gonna no. See, he did try to sneak up on me a little bit. That Oliphant. They're just not as stealthy as the Mumakil of Harad. It's really hard to compete with the Mumak of Harad in real stealth. Where's the... Oh, come on. I think I do have to go back for him. Why would he be back? Doesn't make any sense. It's okay, there's nothing I like better than, you know, trenches. This is a much better way around this trench, though. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Seriously? Wait, who's up here? Oh, he's up on the ramparts. Oh, good. Okay.
I am as eager as Prince Durin to return to Gundabad, but it is a difficult prize to grasp, and I should know.
I know that they do the voiceover like that, jumping into the middle of the text, because they're assuming that people aren't going to read, that many people aren't going to read all the quest text, which, by the way, blows my mind. Like, I can't even imagine not reading the quest text. Like, what are you playing the game for? Right? I mean, like, everybody knows that a video game is just like an alternative way to consume a story. Like, it's all about narrative, right? The game mechanics just get in the way. So, do people have other perspectives? Is there any other way of looking at that? Like, I don't get it. But in any case, I've heard that some people don't read all the quest text, and so therefore they have to jump ahead to like do the voiceover of the, you know, if you read nothing and all you do is hear the voiceover, you can still kind of follow vaguely what's going on. So I understand that motivation, but it makes me sad, and I always feel like I have to start it back at the beginning. What does Lord Nayan ask of me? You tell Agnar about Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Mount Gundabad and ask what he thinks of it. We did what we could to hinder Gorgar and his army of orcs on the field, but these old bones are not as strong as they were when I was a younger dwarf. I'm as eager as Prince Durin to return to Gundabad, but it's a difficult prize to grasp, and I should know. After all, I was there when Komog, son of Azog... What? Bolg had a brother? Fell broken in its halls. In Gundabad? And I remember how it fell just as quickly back into the hands of the orcs after the war. Do not misunderstand me, Wigan. I'm all manner of surprised here. I think much better of our chances this time, but I would not press the attack until we are better prepared for what awaits us within. Okay. No, so I'm backtracking. That's pleasant news. I know that orcs are allowed to have siblings. I just like, they're just, you know, offspring of Azog just keep popping up all over the place. That's all. I just, you know, caught me at unawares. Because now, like, we don't just have, like, a second son of Bolg. Like, we could, you know, we could have their cousins. Azog could have a, you know, ton of grandkids. We could spend, you know, the whole... Okay, I guess he's inside. This whole Blood of Azog thing could be a rather longitudinal project, is all I'm saying. That's Prince Durin. Excuse me, is anybody in here named Lagi? Do we have a Lagi in the house? Hang on. There's somebody over here. What? Oh. Oh, I see. That's the... Do I have to... Yeah, but... Hang on. Where on earth is he? It says he's here. Do I have to go back to the Elder Slade? Outside the battle? I don't get it. Oh wait, is this Lagi over here? Is he hiding in a corner? No, according to this, he's inside this pilaster. Maybe he's up this. Maybe he's up those useless stairs. Yeah. Go up the useless stairs. Maybe he's hiding in the attic. Lagi! You are hiding in the attic. I thought you were in the pilaster, but that's ridiculous. Oh, it's the Helmbiter. It's the one with the really embarrassing name.
If Prince Durin would hear my advice, it is that our soldiers need rest, and the time to heal for the coming battles.
See, it jumps all the way to the end with him. It is good to see you, Wigand, but what has brought you here? You present Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Mount Gundabad to Lagi and ask his thoughts on it. Although he has led the Gabalaka admirably through this war, I have many misgivings in regard to the prince's plan. Just look at the soldiers here in Zarkul Sulun. They are tired. We spent the lives of many dwarves to win the gates of Mount Gundabad, but for those who survived, it is now a matter of will, and not all the dwarves of the Gabalaka can bear such a burden. Hardship is to be expected in war, but many of these soldiers do not know it as I do. In my youth, we spent 6 years of bitter war fighting our enemies. But even in the height of his fury, King Thrain knew the value of respite from battle. Oh, King Thrain. Right, in the Battle of Azanul Bazaar. Gotcha. Many look back at that war as a single great battle at Azanul Bazaar, but we fought those years without rest. But had we fought those years, if theoretically we had fought, which would be clearer if English used the subjunctive mood more demonstrably in sentences of this sort, fought those years without rest, we would never have made it to the gates of Khazad-dûm. If Prince Durin would hear my advice, it is that our soldiers need rest and the time to heal for the coming battles. We have been fortunate thus far in the War of Three Peaks, but winning a battle does not win a war. No. Complicated verb moods do that. Not to mention special fake fourth declension nouns. All right. Oh, wait, I still have to go defeat more enemies. Hang on. BRB. That's why I kept expecting them to be further on. I'm like, surely I will defeat 10 by the time I get to the, you know, the third of them. But they were in like reverse order. Okay, now I just have to go out here and hunt folks. Which, as I observed before, is harder than it sounds. Useless. He turned gray. Yeah, come here, man. Somebody else up here, so. Well, there's at least this worm. That's something. Okay, so 6. Oh, fine. I won't be picky. Seven. Another one. I'm not going to wreck that one. That one is probably going to turn gray, right? Oh, he counted. Well, that's lovely. I guess these big ones count, whether or no, yeah? Okay. Fine. That was satisfying. Okay, talk to Nan the Sleigh Horse again. Excellent.
I find myself in agreement with the Karum Ubnar, but a dwarf of my reputation could hardly say as much aloud. I would be called Nain the Slaked.
So you return, Wiggin. What did they have to say of Prince Durin's plans? You informed Nan of what Agnar, Lagi, and Reithvald told you. I should have expected such wisdom from the dwarves of the Karamubnar. In truth, I find myself in agreement with them, but a dwarf of my reputation could hardly deliver such news to Durin. I would be called Nain the Slaked, and that is no title for the Lord of the Iron Hills. Were it my army, I would muster more forces to Elderslade and call upon distant cousins and allies, but that would be a matter to bring before my brother Thorin. For once I am pleased such a decision is not left to me. You must return to Anak Kurfu on my behalf. Let this be my guidance to the prince. Seek the wisdom of your father, and stay your hand for the moment, that it might soon swing with renewed strength. Okay. Great. Yes, let us close the giveaway. So remember, we are giving away a free item of your choice from the Signum store, one of our large collection of premium content, a lot of recorded lecture content, but some other things as well. So we're giving away the one of your choice type store to enter the drawing, and then in a couple seconds we'll close it. Wigan, what did Dan have to say of my plan? You deliver Dan's guidance to Prince Durin. The prince's face becomes stern, betraying the faintest hint of embarrassment. I must admit, my friend, that is not the response I expected. But if Uncle Nan believes I should send word to my father that the Gabalaka might be the better for it, I have no reason to doubt his judgment. After all, it was not so long ago that I spent my days at the quenching trough in Yarnfast, spared the battle before the Lonely Mountain by the will of my father. But when it is my uncle who urges restraint, only a fool would ignore his counsel. Perhaps I was too swift to dismiss Glóin's concerns. I shall have to apologize to him for my imprudence, if I might. It seems I have still much to learn, despite my station. So be it, Wigan. I must admit I had not expected to send another messenger to the Lonely Mountain until this war was ended. I had hoped to send tidings of victory to my father, that I might finally prove myself a dwarf worthy of the name Durin. Bah, perhaps it was folly to entertain such stubbornness. If my uncle believes the Gabalaka would be helped by again swelling its numbers, I see no reason to argue with him. Durin looks across the upper hall of Anak Corfu. I will need some time to draft a missive to my father, but I have had an idea. Many of the Longbeards here at Anak Corfu have written letters and prepared parcels to be delivered to their kin at the Lonely Mountain. Unfortunately, a great deal of them have gone unsent in recent days. It would please me to correct this oversight at the same time. I will set to writing my father at once. After you have gathered all the letters and parcels, return to me. Okay, I get to be mailman now. That's fun. Collect letters and parcels, huh? Nobody appears any... Now, aren't these guys pretty well rested? Oh, I see. They're around the edges over here. Okay. All right, Nimgalio, congratulations. Oh, no. I'm not talking to you. What's your name? Over there? Mr. Gunvald? No, I don't think so. Do I have to redact the mail so it doesn't give away military secrets? I don't know. He didn't explicitly set me to be, the censor for the King Under the Mountain here, but... All right, I'm picking up the mail. I'm sure nobody's had second thoughts about sending these letters, or that I'm not picking up the wrong letters or anything. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, we got some more letters. It's true, if they wrote in Kuzdil, it's probably safe. One of the perks of keeping your language a secret, I suppose. All right. Got the letters. The parcels downstairs. Maybe they're over here with the goats. They are! Maybe some of them. Well, I'm glad that they're sending me to find something easy to locate. Something like pre-packaged and addressed parcels.
I expected from my uncle. If Uncle Nain believes the Gabilaka would be helped
Instead
by
of something,
its numbers, I see no reason to
he's still saying it. Instead of something really obscure and difficult to find, like loose rocks. Okay, so Nimgaliel, if you, what you should do is you should send an email to info@signumu.org. Give your screen name and your real name, and we will get you hooked up with your prize at the Signum store. You can make your. You should also let us know. Look through the Signum store, and let us know what you would like. Also. Okay. Yeah, congratulations. No, they're not in the oven. I'm missing one parcel. Hey, you guys see a parcel sitting around? Oh, it's behind the mailbox. Oh. Confounded cunning. All right, back upstairs to talk to Durin.
I have written my father a formal request for a new muster. When the time comes to reclaim Gundabad, we will have need for dwarves of every vocation.
Wait, so he said, "Ah, very good. I have written my father a formal request for a new muster to Elderslade, one that comprises all of our trusted allies, even those unskilled in combat. When the time comes to reclaim Gundabad, we will have need for dwarves of every vocation. I have also made special note that I will not begin the assault on Mount Gundabad until the time of your return. If my father wishes to offer any guidance, I would prefer to hear it before the battle is upon us." Durin seals the missive he has written to his father and hands it to you. "By entrusting you with this missive, I am entrusting you with the success of the Gabalaka, my friend. Be swift and let nothing turn you from your path to the Lonely Mountain." Okay, no problem. I know just how to get there. Hey, King Under the Mountain. Man. Don't you get a headache standing here in a spotlight like this all the time? I guess you're actually above it. It's kind of weird standing here being front lit like that.
Welcome, my adventurous friend. What news do you bring of Durin? How fares his campaign?
You inform King Thorin of the events that have transpired since he sent the remnants of the Iron Garrison to Anach Khurfu. You tell the tale of the battle on the threshold of Gundabad, of Gorgar's near defeat, and of the sudden danger of Hrimil Frostheart, returned from the anvil of the Winterstith. You also tell King Thorin of Durin's desire to press the attack and how he was persuaded against it, at least for the moment, by Nan and the dwarves of the Carum Ubnar. I feared you had come bearing ill tidings, my friend. So long as my son is well, it puts my heart at ease. Thorin glances at the mass of letters and parcels you have brought to Erebor. I appreciate that you answered me as swiftly as you did, but please, set all that down. My subjects will see that they are delivered to the proper dwarves here in the Lonely Mountain. You're not going to have me run around and deliver it? I don't know what to do with myself. As for his missive, let us see what he has written.
Tell me, how did my son come to change his mind, truly?
You tell King Thorin of Glóin's concern and of his suggestion to speak with the dwarves of the Carum Ubnar among the Gabal Aka. That it was for that reason that I sent them, and I am heartened that Glóin warned him against plans born of vengeance. I only wish my son had heeded his words. Durin leads the greatest Longbeard army we have brought to bear in 70 years, but he is still young, and in truth untested. Yes, he has found victory at many stops along his journey from the Iron Hills, but it is hardship that shapes a dwarf. Durin was fortunate to know my father, Dan, in his time. He too was young when he answered the call of war, and I often wonder what he would think of how swiftly Durin has grown into his name. King Thorin's mind turns to thoughts of Dan and Durin. Does it? It is my responsibility to lead Durin's... Okay, right? A tangle of tales? Let's do this. How glad I am you are here, Wigand. The war is done and the dust settled, yet there is such a wagging of tongues in my halls that you would think the mountain was falling in on itself. The talk runs eastward to the Iron Hills, mostly, but that is as much as I can make of it. My displeasure at such gossip is known in this court, and so they hide it from me. They hold no such fear of you, however, and would be eager to pour their rubbish into a fresh ear. Will you go about my hall and learn what you can? This tangle of tongues must be settled, and I cannot see how to do so if I cannot even learn what they are saying. Okay, listen to rumors. I thought you were going to tell me a story there. Thought there was like a little session play lurking behind you. Yeah, that is Tango of Tales. That's a side quest, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, that's a distraction. I assumed he had the next quest, so I opened it. That's the wrong one. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. So that's actually Dan, right? He's picturing Dan sitting on the throne. As he reminisces about Dan, Thorin's voice softens. What can be said of my father, Dan, that has not been etched into the very history of Durin's folk? He was but a stripling when he slew the great orc, Azog, at Azanulbazar. It was he who answered the call of Thorin Oakenshield and defended the Lonely Mountain against Bolg and the goblins of the north, and in so doing, ushered in a time of peace between men, elves, and dwarves. And again, when the enemy sent his servants to the gates of the Lonely Mountain, he died in defense of his people, a hero to his last breath. But despite all of his great deeds, I knew him as my father. I was his son, and Durin his beloved grandson. I must confess that I often saw more of Dan in Durin than I did in myself. But what greater dwarf could one aspire to be? No. Thoughts of Durin. Oh, his son Durin. Okay, sure. As his thoughts turn to Durin, Thorin's voice swells. I have always been the more cautious of Dan's sons, and it has served me well. But for too long I believed it would suit Durin in much the same manner. It was not so long ago that I sequestered Durin in the Iron Hills while battle raged in the Dale Lands, but now my son leads an army to reclaim the mountain home. I dared not dream that Gundabad might be within reach, especially after the failure of the Iron Garrison, and yet my son has proven its possibility, both to me and to all of Durin's folk. Durin is not as hot-tempered as my brother, nor is he as measured as his father. He is himself, and that is enough. Durin will err as any dwarf will in his time, but I did not name him Durin that he would earn the name. But I did not name him Durin that he would earn the name in his life. The name he will earn. I'm not following. But I did not name him Durin that he would earn the name in his life. The name will earn him. Oh, so, okay, gotcha. Or swip it. Gotcha. But I did not name him Durin that he would earn the name in his life. The name will earn him through his deeds. I think I'm following you, but that's a little tricky for me, syntactically speaking.
Durin has requested that I send a new mustard to the mountain home.
You sent him some mustard?
Does he ask for my guidance?
Some relish.
That has given me much to consider.
Little barbecue sauce. It is true that many dwarves of the Iron Garrison pledged themselves into the service of my son, and more still journeyed from our holdings in the Misty Mountains to aid the Gabalaka. Even so, there are many Longbeards and trustworthy dwarves of the Landarim and Narfanghof that might still be called upon. Durin has requested that I send a new muster to the mountain home. It will be done. Thorin pauses for a moment and strokes his beard. But so too does my son ask for my guidance, and that has given me much to consider. Ooh. Hang on now.
My son asks my guidance in winning a war.
Thorin chuckles to himself. I may not be a warrior in the manner of my father, Wigand, but I know well enough that those of Karum Ubnar learned such lessons long ago. After all, it was Dayan who organized the Karum Ubnar after the war's end. It was to be comprised of those who survived the Sixth War, and those descended from the Marasran, the burned dwarves of Azanulbazar. Agnar, Lagi, and Reithwald are not the only dwarves of that order who still dwell within the Lonely Mountain, my friend. Perhaps their wisdom might be of use to my son. Thorin thinks for a moment, stroking his beard. After a moment, he produces a small scrap of paper and writes upon it a short message. Within the dwelling halls of Tumnu Dum, there is an order hall of the Karum Obnar. It is known among Durin's folk as Akraz Zahar, and there you might find a dwarf named Herseg. She is barely beyond the age of a stripling, but she is the granddaughter of one of the greatest heroes of Azanulbazar, and more importantly, one of the dearest friends of my father, Dayan. I have written her a note asking that she might introduce you to the works of her grandfather, Hermath Stormhammer. She too is well studied in the lore of Durin's folk, possessing wisdom beyond her years. Deliver this missive to her, and she will understand what I ask. This missive that you chucked on the floor over here? Oh, it's a dusty page. No. I mean, I'm delighted to see it. I am. Grifflet will be so excited to find that page, but that is not in fact the thing. Wigand isn't into it. Wigand, though technically a scholar, has forsworn lost lore. Okay. Yeah, Griffith will be here pretty soon. Glad to see that the pages are not entirely behind him. Even though he has just... So, in my Grifflet stream yesterday, I completed the Lost Lore of Mordor and got the bookcase and installed it in the Kin House and listened to a dramatic reading of all 8 of the volumes of the Lost Lore of Mordor. It was awesome. Okay. Travel to... where? I have no idea where I'm going. Akraz Zahar in the dwelling halls of Tumnu Dum in Erebor. Who is this guy with a completed quest?
Long live Thorin Stonehelm, King!
Oh, sorry, it's the rumors quest. That's the problem. Hang on, I'm hitting the wrong button here. Yeah, just cancel that. He sounded so disappointed when I canceled that quest. All right, so we're getting out of this room, which as I recall is easiest done mounted because this room goes on for 14 miles. Okay. Can't you just see the dragon coming in there, though? Like Smaug busting in through those doors and... okay. This is a little more useful. The abodes? I think is where we're headed. No. Hang on, I got a quest ring. Where'd it go? Right here. Okay. Take a right here and head through down the hill. Hang a right. Okay, vague memories of this place. Okay. Sure. I think I can dismount now. Can I? Am I trapped? Yes, I'm trapped. This is a dead end. Okay, we're gonna go out. Alright, we're gonna go all the way around and then to the right again. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Now we bear right. And we go upstairs, I think. Okay. Yeah, again, the only time I've ever quested around Erebor was on Wigan when I was doing the epic. Up here, yeah? Okay. Akraz Zahar. As you enter Akraz Zahar, a familiar dwarf greets you. Frithgeir.
I heard you followed Prince Durin in his quest. Was that not so?
You explained to Frithgeir that you have returned at Durin's request to seek the aid of King Thorin. What did Frithgeir do? I met him here, apparently. I see. Well, do not let me keep you, my friend. For my part, I was just about to take Nar home. It has been a long day, and although he was more himself this morning, his mind has wandered. Perhaps Nar might wish you well in your quest, but I can make no promise. Nar? Hey, Nar. Ah, hello. You look an awful lot like a man I met a long time ago at Zurugond. I hope they are well. But we must be going, yes? I do hope Hervin makes his stew tonight. That's the Nar, right? Right, in Enidwaith. Yeah. Man. Okay.
Wherever Prince Durin's quest might lead you, I hope you take care of yourself, my friend.
Perhaps we will see you when next you return to the Lonely Mountain. Okay. We've got people with side quests to tempt me. Across the dimly lit hall of Akra Zahar, you spot a young dwarf matching King Thorin's description. Hersage.
A missive from King Thorin? I do hope this isn't about the cave claws again. Last time was an accident, I swear it.
Hersage appears to tighten her grip on a weapon beneath your view. You swiftly explain that you have been sent by King Thorin to deliver a missive to Hersage. I think the double G is pronounced. So here's the primary reason that I think that. Is that the bridge across the Anduin by what was it called? Skaldabrout or whatever it was, the fortress that nobody ever did really explain to me. I mean, they explained what this thing up at the top was, but anyway, whatever. The bridge, the second part of the word for that bridge was B-R-Y-G-G. Bridge. So I think it's from bridge. Like, I think that's like Norse for bridge. And so from that, I was taking that cue. But my Norse isn't good enough to know for sure when they do the J sound, the soft G. Because I think they do. I know that G would normally be either Y or G. But with a double G at the end, that looks like the place where it would be. And I know that the J sound is native to the language. They did it in Anglo-Saxon too, in Old English. Except it's CG in Old English, like ECG, which is a word for sword, which is just pronounced edge. Anyway, so thank you, Phil. Good night. Thanks for hanging with me. I know it's getting late over there. But it also might be, so Theranos, I'm not sure if it's the same, if it's in the middle of a word, like if it has a vowel after it, like the goddess, Frigga. I think if it's at the end, it may well be different. Anyhow, so that's my theory. Just primarily from that word for bridge, which I think means bridge. And it feels right. It seems to fit.
Let me see what all this is about.
Hersage looks over the missive from King Thorin. Her bushy eyebrows raise and lower a few times until finally she lets out what seems to be a sigh of relief. Well, that wasn't what I expected. I must apologize for my curt introduction, Wigand. I am Hersage, and I tend to Akra Zahar on behalf of the Karamubnar. As for that missive, it seems King Thorin wishes for me to introduce you to the works of my grandfather, Hermath Stormhammer. He kept a detailed account of his experiences in the Sixth War of the Dwarves and Orcs, especially the Battle of Azanulbazar. In fact, a collection of his volumes are right over there. Although I am sure Prince Durin has heard the tales of that war before, the king insists your study of it will be of use to his son and the Gabal Akka. But it's no use studying the battle without hearing the beginning of the tale, I say. King Thorin has given me a task of my own, but since I have a little time, I'd be honored to read it to you. So, what do you say? Would I agree to you reading me a story? Yes, I would.
So you wish to hear the tale of Nar?
Yes. I must warn you, Wigand, it is quite grim, even for a retelling. But first... Hersage glances around Akra Zahar, making careful note of the dwarves still present. Good. It seems Frithgeir has taken him home. Nar is an old dwarf, and although it is no fault of his own, he is often forgetful and confused in his mind. It is as if the stones of a great mosaic were scattered upon the floor. All of the pieces remain in some form or another, but what it once depicted is lost. Even so, neither I nor anyone else in this hall would tell the tale in his presence. Hersedge lifts a small volume from her hip and flips through its pages, stopping at one page in particular. Let us begin. Yes.
When you are ready, I will begin.
Great.
Although he has at last found comfort amongst Durin's folk at the Lonely Mountain, the dwarf Nar has been witness to much hardship and tragedy throughout his long life.
He sure has. I was there for some of it.
Long after the realm of Grark had fallen to the cold drake Vetug, and 20 years after the Lonely Mountain fell to Smaug, King Thror and his folk came to dwell in a cool near the wilds of Gundabad.
I remember it. From the old stronghold of Zudrugund, Thror ruled what remained of the two kingdoms he had fled in his life. His son was Thrain, a formidable warrior. His grandsons Thorin and Frerin, and granddaughter Dis, were yet young. His people were few, poor, and hungry, and they knew little joy since the loss of their homes in the north. Dotage and gloom. Gold star for including the word dotage. Fantastic. Dotage and gloom took their toll on King Thror, and he thought long of regaining the splendor of his father's halls. But it was not in the halls of Erebor where Smaug now slumbered upon the heirlooms of his people, nor the frozen wastes in the north that called to him. It was Khazad-dûm itself. It had been more than 800 years since doom befell it, since the elves named it Moria, but it mattered not. Thror determined that he would reclaim it, and in so doing, restore the glory of his kingdom and of Durin's folk. What true reason had he? None knew for certain. None know for certain. Perhaps he had gone mad, or perhaps not.
Yet, in his heart, Thror desired one last quest, though he would not say where he meant to go.
But whatever the case, he summoned Thrain and gave to him what heirlooms of their house remained, chief among them his ring, last of the 7 that had been given to the dwarf kings. He said to Thrain, "Riches may yet spring anew from this bauble, my son, or perhaps not. Yet one cannot breed gold without gold." Another one of those, it's a quote, but I'm changing the quote so that we don't get in trouble with HarperCollins. Because you know, right, that though LOTRO has the rights to the story, they don't have rights to the text, because the text copyright is different from the story trademarks. So they have permission to adapt the story, and they have access for adaptation. They have license for anything within The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, but they don't have text copyright access. So that's why, of course, they're always, anytime they do a direct quotation, they switch it, they change it. Okay. Yet it takes gold to breed gold, Thror actually says. When Thrain asked if his intent was to return to Erebor, Thror remained silent. After a long moment he said, "These bones are too old. I will not be avenged on Smaug. That fate perchance shall be yours or your sons. I have known too much of loss and of men's derision. I go to seek better fortunes, if they may yet be found." He did not say where he meant to go, and Thrain did not ask, but merely wished him fortune in his quest.
All in Zudragund bade farewell to Thror, though they knew naught of his quest. Yet, to the surprise of his kin, Thror did not set off on his journey alone. With him, he took a single companion, Nar, his friend and esquire of old. And that is where our tale begins. Together, Thror and Nar went north.
I want to see young Nar.
In old Eregion, Thor insisted against the West Gate, and the two continued northward. After a time, they crossed the Redhorn Pass and descended into Azanul Bizarre. In the dwarves' absence, it had become an unfamiliar and unfriendly land. The Dale had long fallen silent, and what remained of the Great Way was choked with undergrowth. Yet there, beyond the brambles and brush, lay Thror's prize, the lost kingdom of Khazad-dûm.
Nice. Oh, yeah. I recognize where we are now. Down there, stairs. Elf camp over on the side. Got it.
Before them, the east gate yawned open, as if to beckon the two of them forth. But the journey had been long.
And Nar thought better of seeking shelter within Moria.
In need of respite, Nar urged Thror to take rest. Although Thror had set his mind on entering Khazad-dûm, he relented. And so, Nar toiled to set a small encampment at Azanul Bizarre.
Oh, this is cute, Nar. Little lean-to. You know, maybe throw some snow on top to disguise it. It would drip then, I know, but still, it's nice. I really like that, Raviolan. Says I like to think it's a different translation of the story. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's a good way of thinking about it. Sorry, I'm watching the time. I need to take a break in about half an hour, 45 minutes or so. I promise. In fact, I'm going to set a timer to remind myself. Okay. I have an appointment. Say goodnight to my wife before she goes to bed. She's going to bed early tonight. She's celebrating the weekend, going to bed early. So I need to make sure to say goodnight before she goes to bed. That's why I am looking at the clock to make sure I remember to take my break. Okay.
Nar built a fire and prepared what meager meal he could. But when the supper was ended, Thror stood at once.
As if in answer, Nar knelt before the old king and helped him to fasten a shield to his arm.
It is time, Nar. I have lived long enough in exile. You have proven your loyalty, my friend, and I ask only that you await my return. Do not fear, dear Nar. I go to honor our forefathers.
Take heed, my friend. An ill wind blows in this vale.
But Thror cared not. Axe in hand, he went in, as proud as any dwarf ever crossed the doorstep of Khazad-dûm. For many days, Nar hid among the trees outside the gates, lonely and troubled.
When he dared to draw nearer to the gate and peer into the gloom, neither sound nor the faintest flicker of light emerged from within. More troublingly still, neither had Thror.
And so, Nar waited. And waited. And waited.
It's a really patiently told tale. I like it very much.
And waited. And waited until he thought he could bear it no longer.
Despite every doubt, though, his resolve did not falter. Even if he were fated to live the rest of his days huddled beside a fire at Azanulbazar, Nar would not disobey his king. It was his duty to await Thror's return.
As another day of waiting drew to an end, Nar slipped into dreams.
Flashback within the flashback.
In his mind, Nar beheld Thror standing triumphantly before the East Gate. Behind him, a chorus of hammers and song echoed from the halls of Khazad-dûm. Such a joyous end to the quest Nar could have hardly imagined. But it would not be so. When Nar awoke, his clothing was cold and heavy with rain.
Nar's rest had ended abruptly, and in a daze he tried to regain his bearings. Above him the sky loomed dark, its hue a sickly purple, and he could not tell if it was day or night. Aside from the sound of trickling rainfall, all was still and silent. Alas, Nar would have little time to ponder his situation.
Breaking the silence, a distant voice shouted in the Orcish tongue. A horn blared, harsh and ugly, out of Moria. And from the east gate came a sickening thud, echoing through Azanulbizar. Fear for Thror seized Nar's heart, yet, loyal as ever and heedless of all peril, Nar drew his sword. Abandoning his hiding spot, he rushed up the steps to the east gate. Nar stopped at once, frozen in horror. Out of the darkness had flown a body, its limbs all at angle. And nearby, a head lay before the gates of Khazad-dûm. Nar had known the truth at once, but wished not to believe it. It was Thror.
As Nar crept closer, there came a chittering laughter from beyond the darkness of the east gate.
And then, out of the darkest shadows of Moria, came a voice.
We know you're there, Bidley. We've been watching you. But never fear. We won't take your head today. No, you'll make a fine messenger yet. Well, come on then. You see what we do to beggars and vagabonds who barge through these doors? He got what he had coming, the old thief, trying to filch what's ours. You're not bringing your reeking whiskers around these parts again, and this is what you'll get. You tell them that. Tell them all. And when his family asks who killed him and who's king here, that will be your answer. Go on, have a look. It's right there on his face. There I wrote it.
The voice actor didn't want to cuss.
Read, can't you?
Nar knelt to inspect Thror's head, and upon it was carved the name Azog.
Nice.
That's right. I'm the master of this house.
And they used the Elvish G.
Leave it be, Beggarbeard. That's mine now. Yeah, some coin for your troubles. It's the least we can do, eh, boys?
It's interesting.
Off with you.
They've given Azog a rather civilized sounding voice.
And so, Nar fled weeping from Khazad Dûm. For many months, Nar wandered in the wilderness, racked with sorrow. The sight of his king's defilement branded in his heart.
At first, Nar again made for the Redhorn Pass, but orcs beyond counting had gathered there and watched him with their red eyes, and so Nar fled back the way he had come. As he passed by the gates of Khazad-dûm again, more great orcs, including some larger than he had ever heard of before, had surrounded Thror's corpse and were hacking it to pieces. In that hateful frenzy, a great mass of crows descended, and to them the orcs began to fling the scraps of the dwarf king. Nar dared not look again. Tear-blind, Nar ran along the banks of Kheled Zaram, fleeing the orcs and wolves that now hunted him in cruel sport. When at last he came to the ruins of Amdan, he found them barred, and black arrows hounded his every step. Desperate to escape his own doom, however, Nar thought of Kibul Nala and leapt down the paths alongside the stream. By some stroke of fortune, Nar had won his escape, but behind him the laughter of Azog and the orcs rang in his ears. For many months Nar wandered in the wilderness, racked with sorrow, the sight of his king's defilement branded in his heart. At long last he found his way north to the high pass across the misty mountains, then made his way back to Thror's Coombe. By the time he entered Zadrugund, the guards scarcely recognized him, so haggard and wild had he grown. Nar was never well in his mind again. That was awesome. That was a really, really good instance. Pure narrative instance. Love it. Anyway, I was looking at the Kirth. And what interests me, hang on, let me look again. What was interesting me is the yeah. So the G rune, because there are two G runes in the Kirth, and in the old Khazad-dûm mode, they use the one that looks like a K. Basically, it looks like a letter, a Latin letter K. This one is the elf rune G, right? And they're all elf runes because, you know. But anyway, whatever. But that's like the Gandalf G, right? In the Azog there. Yes, that's the familiar Gandalf used rune. But that's the G rune that they used in Erebor. So they have Azog carving his name in Erebor, like in modern runes, not in ancient, not in the old Khazad-dûm runes, right? Anyway, that's cool. A-Z-O-G. Very cool. Man, those boots, they're steel toe boots and then they're axe toe boots. It's quite something. Huh. All right, hang on. Let's do another giveaway before we go. Let's do a LOTRO points giveaway. So we'll give away another code for 100 LOTRO points before we go on break. So let's go ahead and open that up with the keyword LOTRO. And there we go. But first, hang on. Where did I put it? Give me a second here. I want to translate. I'm getting my runes out. There we go. So following the hint from Thror's forehead, I'm going to look at the mode of Erebor runes. Okay, so I'm getting Chad's Kirth table out here. Okay. So, first we begin that. First one is that's an H. Okay, H. And that second one's going to be a vowel that's U. H, U, and those are L's, if I recall correctly. That's a double L. Yeah, H-U-L-L-U. Hulu. Oh, they did it in Kuzdil too. Hulu, H-U-L-L-U. Yeah, they went hardcore, which is so not surprising. H-U-L-L-U. And then that one is a Y. Y-A. Yes. Y-A-R. No, M. Y-A-M. Yama. Yama. And that's an R. Yamar. And that's a double O. Darn it. Oh, come on. You're going to kick me out of the instance? I should have done it before I clicked last time. Well, that's okay. It's in Kuzdul anyway. So you have to not only transliterate it from Kirth into the Latin alphabet, but then you got to translate it back into Kuzdul, which I wouldn't have been ready to do anytime real quick in any case. It's fine. Yeah, no, it's screenshotable. But as I say, we'd have to translate from Kuzdul anyway. I just wanted a little brief Kirth reminder while I'm there, you know? But that's all right. Okay. Tell me, Harrisage, you got more?
As for Nar, there is far more to be said of his tale.
Excellent. But I shall tell it as briefly as I might. Nar was brought to Thrain in Zudragund, and there told his tale, and spoke the name of Azog, which all Longbeards have held with hatred ever since. All Thror's court wept at the tidings, and tore their beards, then looked to Thrain, who sat down heavily upon his father's throne, and was silent. Breaking the silence, Thorin said, "You are king now, father. What is your will? How shall we answer this outrage?" All around the court, hands went to sword hilt and axe handle, and brows lowered darkly. But still Thrain sat quiet, and did not move. 7 days he remained thus, still as a stone, saying no word. Without a bio-break or anything? Man. Then as a storm long gathering that breaks upon the mountainside, he arose, eyes ablaze, and cried, "This cannot be borne." Oh, that's a direct quotation, but it's only 4 words, so I think we're okay. From Thrain's yearning for vengeance arose the 6th War of Dwarves and Orcs, called simply the War of the Dwarves and Orcs in our memory. Ah, but that is another tale. Right. Look at that. I'm like 2/3 of the way to level 133 already. Wigan is doing great.
Let us hope that Nar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves.
As for Nar, I think it's good that he has finally left Zujugund behind. Since his return, Nar has made many friends in the Lonely Mountain. When he feels well enough to visit us here in Akraz Zahar, I have heard his laugh and seen the light in his eye when he smiles. Although it pains me to even think such a thing, perhaps his ailment has been something of a mercy, some small kindness bestowed upon him by the first crafter. Let us hope that Nar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves. Now then, I must tend to the task King Thorin gave to me, and you ought to begin your studies of my grandfather's work. Hersedge gestures to a stack of books atop the nearby table. Those will tell you all you need to know about the Battle of Azanulbazar, Wiggin. When you've studied it for enough for your liking, you are to return to the King under the mountain. With any luck, I'll see you again soon. Begin your study of Hemath Stormhammer's account of the Battle of Azanulbazar. Use Tales of Yore, Azanulbazar. Nice. Okay, so that's just a taste. Again, I love the fact that that was so patiently done. The other thing that I really, really liked about it, I really liked the fact that I really liked, what was it? Oh yeah, that's right. I love how they actually followed. So that that account, the account of Thror's death and Azog's taunting of Nar, is directly out of the Thorin's Folk part, Appendix A, Part 4, and it's very dramatically described. It's a brief account, but it's one of those places where the narrative really, really zooms in. And one of the things that Tolkien does really well there, one of the things I've always admired about how that particular story is told, both there and through the Battle of Azanulbazar, is the motif of the voice out of the darkness, right? It's really cool and really effective. One of the reasons that Azog seems like such a big deal, really, is that he's just a voice out of the darkness. That instead of coming in and seeing a mighty orc standing by the arm, by the body of Thror, he just hears the voice coming through the darkened door. And the way that the door of Moria is turned into this really important boundary within that story. Thror transgresses the boundary and his body is thrown back out. His dead body and head are thrown back out. And then Nar comes up to it but doesn't cross it. And then eventually Nan goes up to it and calls in his challenges and is answered and is killed. And then Dan comes up. It's all about the threshold, right? It's all about the threshold, which of course is what they're picking up on with the Gundabad story. The bloody threshold and everything, right? It's the parallel with Prince Durin at the threshold of Gundabad. That's the name I'm looking for. Ever since I saw the name of the raid, the bloody threshold, I was assuming it was a reference to that, and that reference has become more and more clear. Right, as we've worked into that. Anyway, I really like the fact that they picked up on that. Shifting to a visual medium, one might have been tempted to do that reveal sooner of Azog himself. Now they did do it, he did come out. But again, they handled the initial encounter. They really picked up on and kind of built on that the dark boundary of Moria. And remember that at the end of the story, when Dan looks through the door and sees something, and when he comes back and he's like, we shouldn't go in there, right? And they don't cross the threshold even when the orcs are all dead. Anyway, I think it's such a powerfully dramatic moment. And I love the way that motif of the door of Moria, right? Because it is Moria. It's not Khazad-dûm. It's Moria. It's the dark. It's the black pit, and it's that wall of darkness. It's the dark doorway, which is that kind of dominant concept in that whole narrative there. You can see in the way that they constructed that they were really picking up on that, and they were developing, even though they were translating it to a visual medium. They were really picking up on that and working on that, which I think is really cool. All right. Drawsnake, did Tolkien ever write horror? Yeah, all the time. In the Barrow Downs, in Moria, right? Like, I mean, that is their horror elements, chiefly in the Lord of the Rings, frankly. Very few others, like, there aren't many horror elements in many of his other writings. Even the Silmarillion doesn't contain horror elements in the same way. There are, I mean, yes, you could be like, you know, Thu/Sauron and the werewolves and such, you know, the story of the, you know, the werewolves consuming Finrod's companions one by one. Like, obviously there are horror elements there, and yet even it doesn't hit quite the same way. It doesn't have like the atmosphere and pacing of a horror story in the same way that like the Barrow Downs, you know, the Fog in the Barrow Downs chapter does. Yeah, exactly. It's too high and impersonal for traditional horror, JJ. I think that's exactly right. Mordor, yes. It's in a different kind of way. Certainly, I mean, I think that to me the most kind of horror elements of Frodo and Sam in Mordor is the Tower of Cirith Ungol. The Watchers at the Gate, right? The corpses everywhere and all that stuff. But yeah, anyway, so there's a lot of, but again, it's the Lord of the Rings is really where you see Tolkien as horror writer. And he's a great horror writer. He's really, really good. I mean, think of all the things we've been observing and exploring in the Lord of the Rings concerning the Chamber of Mizarble, right? The Chamber of Mizarble is a great horror sequence as well. Really, really good horror sequence. Raviolan says, to me, a lot of the Fellowship of the Ring book is straight horror, even before the Barrow Downs, their journey through the Shire, when the riders appear and haunt them from afar. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of elements. I mean, it's not like the whole thing, right? But yes, I mean, there are many, many elements when we hit that note. Think also of, you know, the trees closing in around them, bringing them ultimately to Old Man Willow, right? There's a bunch of times that we get horror elements, especially as you say. I think it's true that they're more frequent in the Fellowship of the Ring. I think that's fair. Weathertop is a good one. The Watcher in the Water. I mean, it's all over the place, right? Tolkien's a really good horror writer and has, even though like there's not much evidence that he read a lot of, certainly of modern horror, even less evidence that he watched horror films, even though there were, like, Nosferatu was out, right? You know, well before the end of Tolkien's career, as well as many other horror movies. Heck, the Bela Lugosi film was out before Tolkien's death. But in any case, there's very little evidence that Tolkien was like a great consumer of what we would call the horror genre. But my suspicion, this is just a guess, by the way, my guess is that Tolkien would be a little bit impatient with this concept that we have of the horror genre. I suspect he might say horror isn't exactly a genre. Like, it's an atmosphere that may dominate a tale to a greater or lesser extent. But it's not exactly a genre. And in fact, most of the things that we think of as genres are not intrinsic to forms of storytelling, but rather are ways of classifying books for the sake of booksellers and libraries, right? When you want to create shelves to attract particular, portions of your clientele. So you put science fiction and fantasy and horror and, young adult. Just ask yourself what Tolkien would say about the young adult genre of literature. I feel a rant coming on, right? In even thinking about that concept. Anyway, it is, I think that our idea of horror as a genre, just like our idea of fantasy or science fiction as a genre, Tolkien would have resisted those things as well, I think, in a lot of ways. Remember, fantasy was not to him the name of a genre. It was the name of like an element of storytelling, an element which might be present to a greater or lesser extent. It was one of the things that fairy tales had to offer, right? People always cite, recovery, escape, consolation as the three things that fairy stories offer. And he does group those three things together, but fantasy is what he starts with. And I think that modern people don't call that four things. They don't say fantasy, recovery, escape, and consolation, because we're used to thinking of fantasy as the name of a genre, and it feels weird to include that in the list of four. But that's how Tolkien talked about it on fairy stories. That's how he used the word. Thomas, it's true that Gothic would have been more like a genre, but that too, if you'd said, the word Gothic would have evoked for Tolkien much of what we mean by the word horror as a genre. That is true. Anyway, it's yeah, that's an interesting parallel. JJ says young adult being a genre sounds like rated PG is a genre of films, right? Which I agree. It's sloppy. Okay. Anyway, Thorndals, don't worry about it. We're about to take a break. I'm not gonna. This is obviously a breaking point, and I'm gonna go say goodnight to my wife. So, we can come back to some of this discussion afterwards. Let's go ahead and look at that. My timer is going off right now. Let's do our drawing first. So if you didn't get to enter, type LOTRO really, really fast, and then we will close the drawing and draw our next LOTRO points code, and then we'll take a quick break. Yes, clocks changed tonight in America. Yeah, gonna be up late and then lose an hour also. No, wait, I gain an hour tonight. Oh, nice. I forgot, it's fall. My favorite time change. Extra night of sleep. Extra hour of sleep, rather. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Okay. Go ahead. Yes. I mean, I like the extra hour. It's not worth it. I still like all the trouble that is caused by daylight savings. I'd still do without it, but. Okay. All right. Last chance. Go ahead and close it, Druid's Fire, and we'll do our drawing. Okay. Here we go. And the winner is Sapphira. Congratulations. Very good. Congratulations. Druid's Fire will whisper to you the code so that you can put that in and redeem your points. Awesome. Congratulations. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to shut the stream off again. Might as well put in a video break in there. And I'll be back let's say 15 minutes this time. 15 minutes to say goodnight to my wife. After this, I won't have anybody to go talk to in between. So give me 15 minutes and we'll be back in 15. All right? Thanks very much. See you in a few.